All right. I think we'll just go ahead and get started, and if some other people hop on in a few minutes, then that's totally fine. I'm just going to start introducing myself. My name is Danielle Driscoll. I'm the Assistant Director of Alumni and Constituent Relations. I just want to welcome you all here tonight. We appreciate you guys taking an hour out of your evening to visit with some of our representatives from College of Education. It's definitely been trying for our team. We're used to traveling and seeing alumni in person, maybe even enjoying fried chicken dinner from Chicken Annie's. So things definitely look very different in our world too, I'm sure, much like most of yours. So we kind of kicked off this fall virtual series last week, and we had a great start with School of Construction. So this is our second one for the fall. So we are excited to have another great group. So tonight we have with us Dr. James Truelove. He's the Dean and a Professor at College of Education. We also have Dr. Brenda Roberts. She is the Program Coordinator and Associate Professor. Dr. Gloria Flynn. She is an Assistant Professor. Dr. Marcus Daczewitz. He is the Associate Professor. Did I do that okay? Good. And Dr. Jason Clemensen, he is an assistant professor as well. We also have Erica Martin on. She is the Director of Development for College of Education. And we are actually lucky to have a regent from the Kansas Board of Regents with us tonight, Shelly Kiplinger. And welcome everyone else. We will go ahead and get started. I'll toss it on over to Dr. Truelove.
Well, I'd like to welcome everyone, and it's great to see everyone, so to speak, and we are pleased that you decided to connect with us for a few minutes. And the College of Education, we have three really large, vibrant departments. We have health, human performance, recreation, and we also have psychology and counseling, and then we have teaching and leadership. And so tonight we're taking a little deeper dive into teaching and leadership. And specifically, we're going to be looking at some new or more innovative things we're doing. So you can kind of get a sense for where we're heading and why we're doing these things and kind of where that's going to lead us into the future. And so it's not to minimize everything else we're doing in the College of Education. We just had to be selective. So at a future events, we'll cover some of the other things. So there's lots to tell you about, and we're excited about the things that we are doing and what's going on. Also, I saw that some of you, excuse me, submitted some questions. So as we get a little later in our time together, we'll answer some of those questions, and then other questions may pop up. And then if it's a system-wide question, I'm going to give that over to Shelly to answer for us. And so not sure if any of those will emerge, but we'll trust her expertise, and we appreciate the work she does on the behalf of not only Pittsburg State, but all the Kansas institutions, because we know this is a very unique time in education, so we appreciate what she does for us on those front lines. And so when you look at the College of Ed, as we fit within the Pittsburg State University, our total enrollment represents about 1/4 of the whole university enrollment. So we're one of 4 colleges. And so within that, we have the distinction of covering over half of the graduate student, their enrollments, their programs. So out of our college comes the lion's share of graduate studies. So we're very proud of that. And so we have a strong tradition. So we're going to be touching on some of the things we're doing in that arena, then also what that might mean for us in the future. And then we'll also even touch on some of our undergrad, because we have a really strong tradition of preparing great teachers. And so we're going to touch on some of those highlights as well. So to start, one of the special things that we do is we collaborate with the Kansas Department of Education on behalf of the State Board of Education. And we have a special program that really is on the front lines of being out in the field. So I'm going to ask Danielle to go ahead and go to the next slide. There we go. And so there is a contract through KSDE, and it's called the Kansas Technical Assistance System Network Partnership. And so this is a branch of KSDE that really supports schools, educators, parents out in the field. And specifically, what it looks at are helping students and teachers who are addressing students with disabilities, the title services, so the special needs populations, things like students with low economic status, all those types of services come under this umbrella. And so this really ties into the special education funding and the title services, not only through the state, but through the federal government. And so if you were to go to their website, it's ksdtazen.org, and we can send that link out, but it will show you all the services that are provided across the state. So TASN is responsible then for providing support services for parents, teachers, schools, and districts in supporting students with disabilities and also title services. And that's a pretty big lift when you think about all the schools and services that are needed across the entire state. And so this has been in existence for the last 10 years. And it's been a partnership between the Kansas Department of Education, Pittsburg State University College of Education, Utah State University, and Keystone Learning. And I'm happy to announce that as of this summer, it is now a partnership just between PSU College of Education and the Kansas Department of Education. So the Department of Education for the state of Kansas has been pleased with what we're doing with that. And so they made the move to make us the sole partner with the state agency on accomplishing the services. So we have a staff of 5 people that administer all these programs and provide these support services. And so just want to let you know that we're part of that. So we, not only do we train people to become teachers, we are also impacting people who are serving out in the field with all these support services. And so we're a part of that, so we're proud of that work. So I'm not going to say much more on that, but later on you may have some questions. And I'm going to turn it over to the chair of the Teaching and Leadership Department, Dr. Brenda Roberts.
Thank you and welcome everyone. It's nice to see a number of people that I know your faces, I know your names, or I might be meeting you for the first time, and I'm glad to do that. I just want to give a very brief overview of the Department of Teaching and Leadership so that you can have a sense of what programs we represent. We have 2 undergraduate degrees, elementary education and elementary education unified. We offer 4 Masters of Arts in Teaching degrees, which are alternative licensure routes to teaching. We also have our Specialist in Education degree, which includes licensure for district level or superintendent people in administrative settings. We have a number of Masters of Science degrees in the areas of educational technology, reading, special education, teaching, leadership, and school health. And then to kind of round that off, we offer 7 different certificate programs, also leading to different levels of licensure. All of our graduate programs certificates are 100% online in delivery, and that somewhat sets us apart. We've been doing this not as a result of COVID. We have committed to this long before. I think our last programs to go fully online were 5 years ago. So this has been our practice over time. It allows us to reach a number of students at a number of levels in a variety of locations. Where you're going to hear about some of these programs in more detail and be introduced to some other endeavors that we're involved in. At this time, I'm going to hand it over to Dr. Gloria Flynn, and she is going to speak to us about the Elementary Education Unified degree.
If you know me, you know how excited I get talking about Pittsburg State. So I'm thrilled to be here this evening, and I want to thank Dr. Roberts for inviting me to participate. And you all will want to thank her too, that she has limited me to a single topic about the great things that are happening in the Department of Teaching and Leadership, because I could talk a long time about the great things that we're doing. Most folks, though, have never heard of a degree called Elementary Education Unified, or what I'll be referring to as the EEU. So I first want to provide an understanding of what it means when someone earns an EEU degree, and then I'll share with you why our staff was motivated to develop such a degree, and provide you some other key information about it so you have a general understanding, just an overview of this new program. First off, students who successfully complete the coursework and the field or clinical experiences for the EEU, as well as are successful with 3 licensure exams, are eligible to apply for both general education and special education teaching positions at the elementary level. You will hear some of our students say it's kind of like earning 2 degrees for the price and time of 1. As far as I know, it's the first undergraduate degree we have offered in our department that can result in dual licensure. And it is also the first EEU approved by the Kansas Board of Regents. This approval happened in the 2018-2019 school year, and since that time, only one other state university, the University of Kansas, has also added this degree to their offerings. But we were number one, we were first. There's also, I understand, a couple of private universities that offer something similar. I'm not sure really if they refer to it as an EEU, but I'm assuming they must. Since its inception, we have had 16 completers, and I am so tickled because I've seen the names of a couple of our completers who are here this evening. So we've had 16 completers of the EEU degree, and currently we have 99 students, freshmen through seniors, who have declared the EEU as their major. The EEU came about because our department is constantly looking for ways to best meet the needs of not only our Pitt State students, but also the needs of students moving through our public schools. Those students, our students, will someday teach. We listen to our students, we study others' research, and we also conduct our own research. And we absolutely listen to our K-12 partners, our school administrators, and our teachers. Because of these voices, our staff was motivated to consider and work toward developing this new degree. We had students who wanted to be special ed teachers. We had students who wanted to focus on students in inclusive settings. And we especially had public schools needing more graduates in the field of special education. Throughout Kansas and the United States, special education is a high need field, one in which there are many teaching vacancies. What all of this means is that Pitt State offers 2 undergraduate degrees at the elementary or K-6 level. I want to make sure that I share with you the differences and similarities of both programs, because I don't want anyone ever to think that one of the degrees that we offer is less than another. So let me share some similarities between an EEU and a K-6 only degree. Both programs are set up to be completed within 4 years. Now, that can change if a student has changed their major 1 or 2. I'm working with one right now. This is her 3rd time of changing her major. So, you know, of course, that can change that opportunity to have it completed in 4 years. But even our transfer students from other colleges or community college, we work very hard to get them through the program within that 4-year time frame. Both the EEU and the K-6 only degrees are rigorous programs. The coursework and field experiences require much of our students. I earned my first degree at Pitt in 1980. I had one field experience called student teaching. I shudder to think about that today, how one field experience would be enough to be a highly effective teacher or a surviving teacher, actually. So I think it's important to let you know that both the EEU and our K-6 only program, they both have our students out in the field. By the time they graduate, they will have spent over 1,200 hours out in the field working with teachers, working with administrators, working with students. The first field experience now for our EEU majors, the first field experience typically happens the second semester of their freshman year. That can happen for our K-6 only majors, but it more often happens first semester sophomore year. And from that point forward, there are clinical or field types of opportunities every semester that they're working toward their degree. Both the EEU and the K-6 only majors complete an internship, and then the following semester is when they have their professional semester or their student teaching semester. You know, originally one of the main differences between the EEU and the K-6 degrees was only the business of coursework. The EEU was going to have more courses for students to take and maybe a few more hours in the field. But interestingly, as the courses that were to be unique to the EEU were developed and implemented, collaboration among our staff resulted in an awareness that perhaps some of the courses targeted for EEU majors should also be ones required for K-6 only majors. As I mentioned earlier, we are constantly looking for ways to better prepare our teachers, our future teachers. The outcome of these discussions is that today there's really only 2 course differences or 6 additional hours that the EEU majors have when looking at the K-6 majors degree program. One of the courses that the EEU take is an individualized education program or IEP course, and the other one is called professional collaboration. With the latter course, there is a 30-hour field component, so that does add another difference to what the EEU majors do when compared to the K-6 only. Although both do have an internship semester and a student teaching semester, that's where another difference lies as well, because our EEU majors will be under the supervision of both a general education or regular ed classroom teacher, as well as a special education teacher. And of course, then the K-6 would only be under the supervision of a general education teacher. So that's an overview, a very quick overview of the EEU. And I would be happy, do we want to field questions now, Danielle, or at the end of our program tonight?
If anyone has any specific questions about what you were just chatting about, I think it'd be
Or if they
appropriate
want to
go
put it in the
ahead.
chat, I can open up the chat if anyone has a question, and I can just answer in the chat and we can move forward if that's okay too.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
I do want to encourage any of you, if you know of a young person or an old person who is interested in becoming a teacher, maybe they want to be a special ed teacher, or maybe they want to be a classroom teacher who just really is interested in how to make sure they meet the needs of every student in their class, whether the students have disabilities or other types of challenges in their lives, that please have them contact me or contact one of our colleagues in the Department of Teaching and Leadership, because we would love to visit with them. I'll open my chat and see if I see any. I'll just kind of keep an eye on it too, okay? I think I can, whoops, I can respond back, right?
Correct. Yes.
Okay. Thanks, everyone.
Okay, are we moving on to?
Yes, I'm sorry, Mark. I was supposed to introduce you, wasn't I? Everyone,
Yes,
this is one of my colleagues. This is Mark Daczewitz, Dr. D.
Thank you. That's what people prefer, just Dr. D, easier. Actually, I'm going to pick up right where Gloria left off, talking about how people can get into special education if they didn't major in it in their undergrad. And we have a program for those who are already in teaching and want to get into special ed. So I'm going to start with the Master of Arts in Teaching Special Education program, which was designed to help paraeducators in middle and high school placements transition into a teaching role. They already have a bachelor's degree, but now they want to be, and it's not in teaching, and they want to move into special education as a teacher. So we have a 2-year online program, and para-educators complete the program while maintaining their position in the classroom as a para. In recent years, we've expanded, and we moved from middle school and high school to also include K-6 if paras are in a K-6 placement. And a lot of this has been on demand by the school districts that need teachers to fill positions, fill the gap of teachers that's nationwide and of course in Kansas. And because of that shortage, also Kansas is now offering a limited apprenticeship license, and paras in our program can move directly into a teaching position after 6 hours in the program, and they can teach while they're in the program instead of being a para. So they have to do one or the other. They have to either be a para or a teacher throughout the program. So that's K-6 or 712, and the license is good for working with kids that have high incidence disabilities. This includes students that have ADHD, learning disabilities, autism spectrum disorders, emotional disturbance, and some kids with intellectual disability. And it depends on the support needs and the intensity of support needs that they need. And so the students in these classrooms focus mainly on general education curriculum, but they require an IEP, an individualized education program, to reach their educational goals. The program consists of 36 grad hours, and students learn characteristics of students with disabilities. That's our students. Our future teachers learn characteristics of their future students. And then they also learn methods of delivering instruction to these students and for assessing them. One really good feature that I mentioned is that it starts with candidates who are already in the field of education. They're paras. They know how the school functions, and they know what they're getting into, and or what they're signing up for. And these candidates also work within the school throughout their program. And that's something Gloria mentioned with our undergrads. We do a lot of field experience. Well, these students, these grad students are working directly in the school already before they even start with us. So they have all that to back them up. So I'm going to move on to the Master of Science in Special Education. And this is different because the students in this program are already licensed K-12 teachers, high and low incidence. Some people get into the special education master's program because they want to expand their knowledge of how to become a better teacher and reach all the students in their classroom. And some actually, to be honest, it is a marketable thing. You know, if you want to maintain a job in the market, one way to do that is to expand your licensure and get into special education. And there's always positions there. Moving on to the low incidence licensure, some MATS-Fed students, that was the first program I mentioned, want to expand to low incidence special education also. And I'm not sure if I mentioned this. So this would be students with orthopedic impairments, intellectual disabilities, deafness, blindness, and autism. And this is, again, depending on the intensity of their support needs, defines whether they're high or low incidence. So some Master of Arts in Teaching special education students want to also teach those low incidence, teach in those low incidence settings. So we offer a 9-hour track, and they can take just 3 courses that start in the fall and then go into this spring and then finish up in summer with a practicum. And that's all characteristics and methods and assessment also. Okay, and so recently, one of our colleagues, Dr. Terry Swanson, started the ASD certificate, Autism Spectrum Disorder, and it's a grad certificate program designed for educators and related service professionals, and that's all the people that work to also deliver educational services to students with disabilities. Although anyone, and Dr. Swanson was wanted to mention this, although anyone with an interest in autism is welcome. Anyone that is, you have to have a bachelor's, but then you can move right into this. There are 2 options: early childhood, which is birth to 6, and K-12 school age certificate. And So that's the big programs that I wanted to talk about tonight. And I just wanted to share a little bit of data with you. It's an easy one to remember. We have 100% pass rate in all the years that I've got data on the licensure exams. A lot of times we get nervous students that are about to take that licensure exam, and they call either me or Amanda Hill in the teacher ed office and ask for study materials. And what do we recommend? What would you order on Amazon to get the best results? And all I can say is we've got 100% pass rate. So the materials that you're going to want to study are the ones that you learned in our classes. And I don't know, I'm just really proud to be able to say that. And that's my presentation on the special education programs. And Jason is going to talk to you about some leadership initiatives that are too much of a mouthful to me to read off to you right now.
Well, thank you, Dr. D, and thank you guys for having us tonight. It's pretty exciting being somebody that moved from California to go to school at Pitt State. Now I'm on faculty here, and then being able to interact with a bunch of gorillas in this fashion, while we'd rather have it face-to-face, but still being able to interact is pretty exciting. So I'm going to talk to you about the programs that we have in our Master's in Educational Leadership and our Building Principles Certificate. So starting first in the Masters of Educational Leadership, we have two options that we have. We have a licensure option and then a non-licensure option. What our licensure option is for those students that are wanting to obtain their building principal licensure. Their goals and aspirations is to move on to become a building principal, where our non-licensure options are those that do not have a current teaching license or a teaching license, but may utilize the master's degree for a field such as maybe they want to go into higher education in some type of realm like that, or something that benefits their employment opportunities through having that master's degree. Our program is it has recently moved from a 32-hour program to now a 30-hour credit hour program. What this has allowed us to be more competitive, obviously, with other universities, but also as a cost savings to our students. We removed one course from the program, and we found that the material that was being presented in that course was also being picked up in several of our other classes as well. So it just made sense to move our program to 30 hours. Our courses, our Master's in Ed Leadership, is designed to be completed over 5 semesters or 2 years. Students can start during any semester that they choose. While we do have a cohort schedule set up based on which semester they start, we do allow for some flexibility as to when they're able to take certain classes based on job requirements and time commitments that they might have. We are an entirely online program that's asynchronous, meaning our students are not set to a certain time or place that they have to be online, that they have to meet. They're working on a schedule that's suitable for them based on meeting the deadlines for the assignments that they have. So our students could be in different places at different times while still working towards those assignments to allow them some flexibility while they're in their jobs, which most of our students are current teachers. So this allows them the opportunity to work through our master's program at a pace and a time that's suitable for them. So when we talk about this day and age, and we talk about COVID, and people often ask, how has COVID affected our program? Really, it's had no effect on our ability to continue to deliver coursework. Our program was already online, so everything kind of moved forward with what we do here in the Masters in Educational Leadership. What's changed for us, though, is understanding the stress and expectations that our students are under as current teachers. They're being asked to teach in an era that really doesn't have a playbook for it right now. Some are in face-to-face, some are entirely online, some are teaching in models that are both online and face-to-face. So our students currently are under a lot of stress while also trying to work towards a master's degree, also working their job commitments as well as family life. So what that's meant for us is understanding that, having the compassion and understanding the daily challenges, but also still providing that rigorous curriculum and that course load that they need to move forward in their program. We do have an exciting thing coming up in which our courses will move from, we're currently in a 16-week format to an 8-week course design starting this spring. So we're excited about that. This plan was set in motion about a year ago now, and it's finally coming to fruition. So currently what our program looks like is our students will take 2 courses concurrently for a span of 16 weeks. So they're taking both classes at the same time. The 8-week program is going to allow our students to focus on 1 course at a time over an 8-week period. So for the first session, they'll take 1 course over 8 weeks. For the second session, they'll take another course for 8 weeks, allowing them the opportunity to focus solely on the material that's presented for that 1 class period. What this also does for us is it allows us more entry points for new students. Currently, we have 3 entry points. Our students can start at the beginning of the fall semester, they can start at the beginning of the spring semester, or they can start in the summer semester. With the 8-week program, we now have 5 entry points for new students. Our students can start session 1 of the fall, session 2 of the fall, session 1 of the spring, session 2 of the spring, or they can start in the summer as usual. It's allowing us flexibility in our schedule, the ability to balance class sizes based on offering courses session 1, session 2, and being able to flip-flop those courses to balance out our course load and the number of students that are in the courses at a time. So this also gives our students an opportunity to complete the program at an accelerated rate should they choose to take more than 1 class per 8-week semester. While we don't always advise our students on doing that, the option is available for them to work at that accelerated rate and finish the program at a quicker pace than they usually would be able to finish it. But not only allows students the accelerated option, it also allows those students who need to exit the program for a period of time, such as an unforeseen job commitment. We have several students who have taken over coaching opportunities and maybe they need to back away from the program for a season. Formerly, they would have had to wait until the next semester to restart the program. With this option, they're only having to wait until the next 8-week session to restart. So it gives them the opportunity, as opposed to missing 6 credit hours, to now maybe only missing 3 credit hours and being able to jump right back in and possibly get themselves caught up with their cohort group. So we're excited about that. As we learned today in a meeting, this move is not only going to be beneficial for us, it's opened the doors for several programs and departments across campus to possibly move to an 8-week format. It's allowed our IT departments and our financial aid departments to figure out different things in the system that they've been able to improve on based on our initiative to move forward with this program. So we're excited, and hopefully we're leading the way to new things across campus here at Pittsburg State. Currently in our master's degree program, we have 79 students enrolled, and those students range from Northern Alaska, which we have 1 student who's teaching in Northern Alaska, all the way to the Carolinas. And then I found out yesterday that we even have a student that is currently teaching in the UK. So not only are we a nationwide program, I guess now we're an international program as well. So that's exciting to have students with that kind of foothold across the country because it allows us the opportunity to reach more future students from across the country. When they share their experiences that they've had here in the online program at Pittsburg State, gives us the opportunity to reach more people nationwide. So the second program I'm going to talk about is our Building Principles Certificate, and Dr. Roberts was actually instrumental in bringing this program to our campus. And what we found was there was a need for teachers who already had a master's degree in another education-related field, but they wanted to obtain principal licensure. The problem with that is they don't usually want to go back and get a second master's degree. So in working with the Kansas State Department of Education, we were able to provide this innovative program that meets KSDE's required course load for principal licensure. So those students can work through a 1-year or 3-semester program, 18 credit hours, that in the end of their program will give them a certificate that meets the requirements for the state of Kansas for building principal licensure. This is only approved for the state of Kansas right now. However, we do have other states that will reciprocate Kansas licensure. So it depends on other states' rules and what they look at when licensing their principals as to how they'll accept that. For the state of Kansas, this has been approved. So we're excited about that. We currently are in the 3rd year of this program. We have 23 students enrolled in the BPC program. And both programs not only provide a rigorous curriculum, but they place our students in real life situations through practicums, observation hours, and provides a meaningful experience for them. And I know our expectations for our students to be adequately prepared and highly effective when they take over their own buildings when the opportunities arise. So we're excited about that. Looking at not only are we sending candidates out there that are entering into buildings or are highly prepared based on the curriculum, we also have an over 95% pass rate on the school licensure assessment for our students as well. So we're adequately preparing those students to take that exam to get that licensure that they need to move forward and take over their own buildings. So we're excited about the new things that we have coming. And if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to ask or put them in the chat, and I will send it back to Dr. Roberts.
Okay, thank you, Jason. I'm going to deviate just real quickly. I never want to miss an opportunity to give props to Dr. Kent Wire. He's on this meeting, and the Building Principal Certificate Program came from a conversation that I had with him one afternoon when he was on campus. And that conversation led me to sit down with Dr. Truelove and say, guess what I just learned through a conversation with Dr. Wire? And that's where it started. So thank you, Kent. I always give you credit every opportunity. And we're glad that we were able to follow through and develop that innovative Building Principal Certificate Program. So far you've been hearing about innovative programs, and I'm sure you're thoroughly impressed by those. What I want to share with you next is housed under one of our programs, the Masters of Science in Educational Technology, but it has a different look in that it is a grant that was awarded through that program area. The faculty members in that department, in that program area, Drs. Liz Masher, Michelle Hudeberg, and Tracy Rampey, are always cutting edge when it comes to what is going on in educational technology in our schools and in the field of education. They submitted a application for a grant, a very competitive federal grant. I want to give you just an idea of how competitive this was. This is a Laura Bush 21st Century Librarian Program grant. Initially, anyone that wanted to could submit a preliminary proposal, and 88 of those were submitted. Upon review, 37 of those preliminary proposals were invited by invitation to submit a full proposal. And the preliminary proposal submitted by our educational technology faculty was one of those. Upon that review, a group of 27 proposals were selected to receive funding that totaled over $8 million. So the competitive nature, I think you're beginning to understand. The other piece of information that I want you to know is the largest award for this grant was given to the University of Tennessee. The second largest award was given to Thomas Edison State University. And the third largest award was given to Pittsburg State University in the amount of over $530,000. Now, we're all impressed by that. And we're all impressed by the work of these three faculty members. Now, let me tell you what this award means to our program area and to the field of education. This grant provides scholarships, which includes the money needed for tuition, fees, textbooks, and laptops. In order for students selected for this grant program to earn a Master's of Science in Educational Technology with an emphasis in library media. The name of the grant is Building Bridges Across Cultures, Meeting the Information Needs of the Hispanic Community. This grant focused on providing these opportunities for 25 teachers from Kansas, Missouri, Oklahoma, and Arkansas who are Hispanic or are in districts teaching Hispanic populations ranging from 15% to greater than 50%. So 25 future school librarians were identified to earn their degree. All the courses are online. The program follows with a year of leadership mentoring. The project focuses on best practices and incorporates culturally responsive teaching methods and assessments. The program began in December with selection of applicants, some additional orientation type work, and then the coursework started in January of 2020 and will conclude in June of 2022. But something else interesting for you to know is this is the second Laura Bush 21st Century Librarian Program grant for PSU's College of Education and for this group of 3 faculty members. The first one that they were awarded was in 2013, and it focused on Native American cultures in teaching. So now you're beginning to get a sense of the impact that the work that the individuals in this degree program area have made on schools in our 4-state region. The schools that are impacted by this grant and participating in it are from states and districts in the 4 states, all the way from Kansas City to Carthage, Missouri, Shawnee Mission, Kansas, Coffeyville, Wichita, Pittsburg, Neosho, Monette, Bentonville, Arkansas, McDonald County. So work was done to forge partnerships with those districts, identify populations, and identify school librarians that could participate in this program. And the nature of this grant has made a lot of difference to our Master's in Educational Technology program, in that it's given us a body of students in order to sustain classes over time. The impact that it has on the school districts is something that I think can be measured for years and years to come. So, you know, I'm always grateful to the faculty and how hard they worked. And I'm grateful to the school districts that have been willing to partner with PSU and be a part of this innovative grant opportunity. And I think that concludes our formal presentation. And I know a lot of questions have been going up in the chat, which I haven't really been paying attention to, but I'm going to kind of hand it back over to Danielle so that she can maybe guide us through any questions or any additional information that might be requested on anything that we just spoke about.
All right. Thanks, Brenda. Okay, let me see here. I was screen sharing, so I couldn't actually see the questions as they were coming in. Okay, so does anyone want to start with questions, or maybe we'll just start with these in the chat, and our College of Education folks can maybe just jump in when you guys see fit. Does that work? Okay, let's see. What's the total number of credit hours to complete the EEU?
Yeah, so we got that. It's 126. So the traditional is 120. It's 126. So that's where the Regions helps us out. Let us go over that 120 cap. And it's designed so you can still do it in 4 years. And so it doesn't cost you an extra semester. And that was important when the Regions reviewed that. So we're grateful for how that came together. And so that is a great innovation for us.
Right.
Sorry, Gloria, I stole your thunder.
You're faster at the unmute button than I am.
True. I
stumble
had a
all
little
over the
experience
place.
with this, yes.
So,
And we had some questions submitted or ahead of time. I could address some of those, or
Yeah,
you're free
go
to
for it.
jump in with any questions as well. So one of the questions was, how many education students are at Pitt State? Currently, we have over 600. So that's across all the fields. Around 250 in elementary education or the unified combined, and the rest across all the disciplines. And the question is also, how does that compare? So for the last 2 or 3 years, I'm in my 4th year at Pitt State. We've been holding fairly steady. There's been a little up and down. In the field of education, every year, fewer people are going into it. So the fact that we're kind of holding our own is pretty remarkable. And so we're going to do our best to continue to prepare quality teachers. So we're kind of seeing some steady numbers for the moment. One of the questions that came in was, with all of this going on, what do we see for graduate education and graduate degree programs at Pitt State? Are they going to be face-to-face, online, hybrid, kind of what's going to emerge? And when you look at current offerings, we have very traditional 100% face-to-face courses at the graduate level, and then we have programs that are 100% online. So we've already been innovating some, and I think the current situation has just caused us to kind of look at not only those two options, but somewhere in the middle. And is it possible for us to serve students who are face-to-face at the same time serving students who are online? Or maybe doing part of the program face-to-face and part of it online, and do a combination of things. And so I've challenged our 3 department chairs to really kind of, have some conversations with faculty and think about what's going to best serve students, because we have great programs. And so the way we can deliver those programs to reach more students, I think will be beneficial. And so I'd love to have as many students as we can, because we're being innovative and flexible in how we approach things. And I think some of what you've heard tonight, and these are fairly recent things that show we are trying to be innovative and flexible, but at the same time be 100% quality and stick to the tradition of excellence that we've known. Let's face it, Pitt State, we were founded as an institution to prepare teachers. And that is the cornerstone of Pitt State, and we're not losing sight of that. So our desire to innovate is to better serve students, but we're going to maintain program quality every bit of the way. So we're not going to compromise anything. We're just going to be more flexible in how we do deliver our programs. So I think we're going to see more of these blended programs and some more online offerings as we forge a new path forward. And I think as we get into some of the COVID related things too, that will come into play. And so we'll find some things that work better for us, and we'll say, hey, we should have been doing this, and we'll use it as a time to embrace a new way. And some things we'll say, yeah, now it's time to switch back to our held traditions, and that's where we're going to invest our efforts. So we'll probably do a little both, but we're always kind of monitoring that and being sensitive to that. So I know those questions were specifically submitted, but I'm sure you may have some other questions we can answer for you.
If anyone has any other questions, feel free to unmute yourself and go for it. No? Okay.
And I will say that as you guys, because of all the things you're doing professionally and personally, you see so many things that we may not be aware of. So if you have ideas for us to consider, or things we should think about, or ways we should reach out, just know that we're always open to those ideas and those suggestions, because we realize that it takes all of us to advance these ideas and to make progress. And we're serious about really taking care of our students and really benefiting our communities, our state, because of the programs we have.
Right. Any questions, anyone? No? Okay. Well, let's give a big round of applause to the COE faculty for joining us. It's always so quiet on here. I'm just going to say a couple quick announcements from university and a few things from the alumni office. And then we'll do some prizes. I know that's really why you guys are all here, to get some cool stuff. So stay tuned for that. So you might have saw that we had a change up in our schedule due to COVID for the semester. So we actually are going to push up commencement. So the students will go home the week before Thanksgiving, and then they'll finish their last 2 weeks online. Hopefully that will prevent people from bringing anything back to Pittsburgh. So they did release that we will have 4 ceremonies on Friday for the fall graduates. And then we will have 1 dedicated solely to grad students, and then 2 on Saturday, which will be the makeup from the spring and summer graduates. So something to keep in mind if you are aware of any Gorilla grads from this 2020 chaotic year, and we hope you guys can celebrate them as well. Another announcement that you may have heard of that is definitely good news. We aren't having a full football season, but we were able to pick up a few football games. So we will play Nebraska Kearney at home on October 31st on Halloween. And they also just announced today that we will have a home game versus Western Colorado on November 21st. So there is limited capacity for the stadium, but we are going to sell some tickets. So Monday, October 12th, I guess that's this Monday, this coming Monday, our 2019 and 2020 season ticket holders will have a chance to purchase some tickets, followed by the students. And then the remaining tickets will be available to the general public starting on Wednesday, October 14th. So like I said, the stadium will be smaller amount of capacity, you know, to share for social distancing. Masks will be mandatory, just like it is on campus all over right now. So something to keep in mind, you can buy those over the phone or at the ticket office actually in Pittsburgh. They're not going to be doing any online sales. So if you're interested in getting some tickets, I would definitely put that on your calendar. I'm sure they will sell out quickly. So that's kind of some exciting news from our end. And one more thing, I'm sure some of you have probably seen, we're not having a traditional homecoming. Obviously we can't. So we are doing some virtual events though. So we would appreciate some of your time next week. We'll kick it off on Monday, actually. Our first event will be on Monday with our archivist, Steve Cox. He will do a history of PSU virtual event, kind of similar to this, on Monday at 6:30. And we will also have Taste of Home in Kansas City. I don't know, we might have a few Kansas City area folks on here, but we're actually going to bring chicken Annie's to you. So some fried chicken dinners, and you can come pick them up at the PSU KC Metro lot. So we do require registration for that. So you can do that on our website, pittstate.edu/alumni. And then one other thing we're doing, we'll actually do this on Saturday, the 17th. We are going to stream on pittstate.tv the highlights of the 1991 and the 2011 National Championship seasons. So something that you can tune in at home from the comfort of your own couch in your crimson and gold. The 1991 game will be streamed at 1 o'clock, and then the 2011 season will be streamed at 2 o'clock. So they're both 45 minutes, roughly an hour, so just the season highlights. So a cool way to kind of get some guerrilla football in your life right now. I think we could all use some of that. So, and then the last thing for homecoming, we are selling some PSU Pride Packs. The thought of this was, you know, usually we have all these people come to campus, we're able to have some FaceTime, give out some goodies, some Pitt State swag. So instead of us being able to give it to you while you're here, we are just going to send it to you in the mail. We have a yard sign in there, a cutting board that has a little split face on it, a 2021 calendar, a koozie, several other goodies. So keep in mind, if you want that for next week, you can order that on our website, again, pittstate.edu/alumni. Are there any questions for anything broad PSU, anything else? Doesn't have to just be education related.
I'll add one thing.
Okay.
I'm appreciative of the faculty taking their time, and it's really great to see a PSU Board of Regent with us as well.
Yes, yes it is. Thanks,
So thank
Brenda.
you all.
Yes, yeah. Yes. Okay. Anything else? Okay. All right. I will go ahead and do the prizes then. So first up, we have these cool Champions Plaza coasters, and it even has a little coaster set in there. So the winner for this is Loretta Scott. Okay, we have this Pitt State coffee mug in Ronnie Beach. You are the winner of that. Let's see. We have these really cool sunglasses, Pitt State sunglasses, and Kelsey Orson. We drew your name for that one. We have a koozie, and this is for Cal. A license plate frame for Morgan. We have a Once a Gorilla, Always a Gorilla t-shirt, and that is for Jason. And last but not least, we have a Pitt State cooler, and that is for Tracy Warren. Yay! All right, we will get those in the mail to you hopefully this week, so hopefully you can get them soon. We're packaging our mail supplies are quite interesting, so you'll know what when it gets to your mailbox what it is. So stay tuned for that. Any last questions? Anything else? Comments? Anything? No? Okay, well, thank you again, everyone, for joining us. We appreciate you taking time out of your evening to visit with us. Thank you to College of Education for your update, and we appreciate you all. We hope we get to see you in person next time. Fried chicken in tow, I hope. Everyone stay healthy and take care. Have a great evening.
Thank you, Danielle.
Thank you.